and the rest of the lyrics are, I know you're not who you should be. I know I'm not what you want me to be. The person who wrote this online totally fucked this up, by the way.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Greetings, people. This is Mike, and this is the dailyBred podcast where I talk about things about my life, and I call it the weekly bread. So today, I'm going to talk about a song that I wrote. I have a decent-sized catalog of songs that I've written over the years for my band lanemeyer. If you want to check out that band, I have an Instagram account for it. It's lanemeyer band. Actually, let me check Instagram just to make sure that's the right handle. I think it is. There we go. Yeah, lanemeyer band. This is a band I was in when I was 17 until about 21. And I've talked about it many times. And I haven't really gone back and listened to all past episodes. So I'm sure there's been little breadcrumbs here and there that have talked about this band, but it was a giant part of my life, and it was basically the first time. It was really when I decided that I wasn't going to go do like the normal routine as everyone around me was doing. So at that point, I think we had just finished high school. And we were in a band called Conquers a Cow. And so I'm saying it was my really good friend Chris Barker. He does listen to some of these podcasts, which I appreciate. And me and Chris have known each other since we were about 14 years old, I believe. Or yes, I think it's 14. And we met at a young age. He was always a songwriter, and I was in plays as a kid, and I would sing. I wouldn't say it was great, but that was my thing. And then when we got together, he was writing songs, and I thought that was really cool. And he really introduced me to. He was like really the reason why what opened my eyes up to music and like punk rock and things like that. And he was writing songs, so he was writing music for it because he was a really good guitar player. And he was also like at a young age, he was very into poetry, and he wrote lyrics. So he had a couple songs. I was like right when we started becoming friends. I was like staying over his house, and he had this typewriter, so he would always type out stuff, and he typed out his lyrics, and he had a folder that he kept his lyrics, and this is very detailed to get to the lyrics, but he had these lyrics, and we just he would play, and I just kind of made up a melody, and one of the songs was called Swallow the Key, and what the fuck else were they called? I forget the name of the lyrics, but Chris he's an amazing songwriter. He also has a band called Day at the Fair. So if you get a chance, go on Spotify and look up those albums. Especially, I talked about a song called No Rewind that I wrote about an old roommate of mine who killed herself, and he wrote this song called Lost and Lucky. God damn it, I always forget the name of this fucking song. Lost and Lucky. Let me see. Lost and Lucky, Day at the Fair. I'm typing this into the Google. The Lost, the Lucky. I always fuck that up. It's an amazing song. Go listen to it. It's so fucking good, and it gives me chills every time I hear it, especially the chorus is incredible. But I got to meet Chris when he was just starting off writing. And so we both had wanted to be in a band. So we started a band together, and he would play guitar, I would sing, and then we got two band members. We got Joe Antonucci on bass, and then Steve Weir on drums. When we played a talent show, which I'll talk about another time, where we got kicked out. I'm trying to say off. It was off. Kicked off the stage, which is a really funny story. I will tell that one time. But this is not going to be that time. And so we did that, and then me and him left those two and did our own thing and started a band called Conquers a Cow. We had a buddy, Jeff DiMaselli, and then Andy Spratt played guitar, and then I kicked Andy out, and then Jeff quit the band, and we got Alan Rappaport and Sean Smith and started lanemeyer, carried over some of the songs, but then kind of quickly just dismissed them. And this leads into this song, because this is where, in Conquers a Cow, Chris wrote all the songs. And then when we transitioned to lanemeyer, I just for some reason decided I wanted to sing. And I think it was because when we started lanemeyer, Alan wanted to write songs and sing them, and we thought, okay, let's open the door here and become multi-singers, kind of like this band Weston, and the Get Up Kids also did that too with two singers. And we thought, like, why don't we just see what we can do with this? And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I can probably write a song. And kind of, so I was a bass player, and when me and Chris started playing, like I said, he played guitar, I sang, and then when me and him started playing, I picked up the bass and taught myself. So I bought it for I think $150 from my buddy Bob, and because Bob had the bass and it was a Yamaha, and he didn't really play it, and it was my birthday was coming up, and he's like, I'll sell this to you. So I asked my dad. I said, I want to. My buddy's selling this bass. It's a good deal. It's $150. I remember my dad was just like, I don't know. You don't really follow through with anything. He was just being negative, but he was just like, I don't really want to waste my money here if you're not going to do it. And I was like, no, no, no. Like, I'm totally going to do this. I'm so passionate about doing this. This seems like a fucking fantastic thing that I will do for a very long time. And I was right. And I picked up the bass. I remember, I'll get back to the whole writing a song, but I picked up the bass, or I got it from Bob, and I went home. And I remember it was, like, I think it was after school, and Chris wrote me tablature. So tablature is basically just like lines on paper that represent the strings, and then the number, and then you'd write numbers, and that would represent the fret. So, and they would write how many times you'd strum it, and then move on to the next one. So if it was like E E E E E, you'd write it like whatever that's 6 times, 8 times, and just write E on the string. And you write 0, and then the next one, let's say it was a G, which would be a C, which would be, I think, like the third fret in on the second string. See, I'm still shit with music, of like reading it, and then so that was like the way it went. I'm kind of bore you here. So that's how I learned. And the first songs I learned were Longview by Green Day, and what else were they? I can't remember the other songs, but Longview was the bass line. That's like the best bass line back then, because that's when Longview broke Green Day into the masses, and Longview was this fucking awesome bass line. So I learned that, and I would just sit in so it was, for some reason, I always hung out in my sister's room because she had the TV and she had a waterbed. So I would always like sit down on the waterbed, and she had a mirror, like a dresser mirror. So I'd sit in the bed, and I'd play, and I'd like stare in the mirror and like pretend I was like a fucking rock star. Oh man, I'm sharing this. Wow. And so I'd do that, and then I'd play, and then I'd learn the song, and I'd get up and look in the mirror, and I'd start playing these fucking songs there's no amp, it's just me playing with a pick on these strings. And then I learned like some face-to-face songs, and Chris would teach me other songs, and the two of us would start playing, and that's how I learned how to start playing bass. Fast forward back to when lanemeyer started. I had never written a song, but at that time I was dating a girl, and I mentioned her many times, even like last week when I was talking about this new favorite person of mine. I had talked about the story about when I was dating this first love, which really makes sense when you're talking about the person you're interested in now, and you start talking about past relationships, because that makes sense. And I think, I had a whole podcast called like My First Love, I think. Let me see. I'm kind of scroll down here. Where was it? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I know I talked about her somewhere. Anyway, I'm like just totally. It's somewhere in here. Okay. Anyway, we were dating. We met when we were 16 years old, and it was like the first time I ever fell in love. And she was living in Ridgewood. I was in Jefferson, and I didn't have a car. And so, like, I think I mentioned last week, so I used to write like letters to her, and we saw each other very randomly. But in the summertime, her parents had a lake house in Green Pond, which was way closer to Jefferson, and that's when I started driving, so I was able to go see her. And then we spent that whole summer dating, and then at the end, it just kind of didn't really work out, and she went off and did her own thing. And then my whole senior year, we didn't date, and then she went to college. This is all leading into the song, by the way. She went to college, and she came back for winter vacation, and for some reason, me and her, I think she called me. Oh my God, I think she did. She called me one day when she was in school. She was going to Purdue. And she called me out of the blue, and it was like it didn't end well, and we just didn't talk. And then she called me out of the blue, and I was like, wow, this is great. Like, I haven't talked to you in a while. She came home for Christmas vacation or winter vacation, and then me and her kind of like rekindled the flame as you do at age, the fuck age was it? 18, I guess. Was it 18? Something like that. And we rekindled this, and she goes back to college. Now, the name of the song that I'm going to talk about is called "Fuck You and Your Boyfriend," and this is going to lead into how the name came about. So she goes back to school, we're talking, but she had been dating someone during this time. So yes, I'm a dick. And we just kind of like made out when she was home for vacation and she went back to school, kind of conflicted because we were two very in love young or older teenagers at the time. And she, I think eventually was going to dump this guy. But so this is right at the time where the band splits or evolves into lanemeyer. I'm going to start writing songs. I rekindle this relationship with the girl that I had fallen in love with when I was 16. And we were talking on the phone, I think it was like January or maybe like December. We're talking on the phone and she was still with this guy. And I think I was just like, well, what do you mean you're still with him? Like, we just kind of brought this thing back to life. You can't be with this guy. And I remember this vividly. So at this point, me and my mom had moved up the street to this townhouse in Jefferson in Berkshire Ridge condos. And I had acquired the bed because my sister had moved out a couple years prior. So as we moved in, I got rid of like my whole old bedroom setup, and I got like her bed, but we didn't have it was like a water bed for like a minute, and then the water bed leaked one time. My mom was like, fuck this, I'm not gonna have water fill into the apartment or townhouse. So it was a mattress. These details are just fucking bullshit, but whatever. I'm just gonna add them in here. And so I'm sitting on my bed, I'm talking to her at my own line, and we hung up the phone. I think it was like a Friday, and I pulled out a piece of paper and I had my bass, and I just started writing this riff. And it was just this bass line. Then the song starts off with this bass line like dun 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 dun. And I liked the way that it was, and it was very slow. It was very like Weezer-ish, like Weezer-ish kind of sounding, like the tempo and just the quirkiness of it. And I pulled out a piece of paper, and I actually have the lyrics in front of me this time, because all the other times I talk about songs, I never have the lyrics in front of me. And I just started writing. And so the whole song will kind of go through the lyrics. So it's like, here alone again, I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. By the way, this is the song that bookends this podcast. So in the beginning, where this thing breaks in after I do like an intro and the song comes in, that's the song. It's called "Fuck You and Your Boyfriend." And then the song that ends these podcasts is the same song when it breaks in at the very end. So the whole "Here alone again, I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me." It's like basically like here I am in my room, I'm alone, and I shouldn't be like thinking of you. I shouldn't be thinking that you're thinking of me, like, because, and the rest of the lyrics are, I know you're not who you should be. I know I'm not what you want me to be. The person who wrote this online totally fucked this up, by the way. Think of you of me. I know you're not who you should be. I know. Yeah, they totally fucked this lyrics up. Good job there, Google. So I know, thinking of me, I know you're not who you should be. Meaning like, I know like you're kind of lost right now, but you're sticking with this guy, but that's not who you should be. And I know I'm not what you want me to be, basically, like, meaning if I was, you'd be with me. So it's kind of like, well, fuck, I think you're kind of portraying this person that I'm thinking you aren't. And then I'm second guessing myself and being like, well, fuck, like, I'm obviously I suck because you don't want to be with me. And then it goes in the chorus. It's like, thanks for it all. I got to go. The time's been spent. We shouldn't show. It's like, thanks for it all. Like, hey, thanks for that time, but I'm going to bounce out of here because I don't want to sit in this crap and take it. And so it's thanks for it all. I got to go. The time's been spent. We shouldn't show all of our thoughts, what we believe. I'm done for now. Can't you see I'm relieved? So it's like, thanks for it all. I got to go. I just said that part. thanks for it all. I gotta go. The time's been spent. We shouldn't show all of our thoughts, what we believe. Being like, kind of like representing that time that we were hanging out and we were making out when she was home for vacation. Kind of like encompassing that moment where it's like, okay, well, that was cool, but I'm gonna bail. So it's like, the time's been spent. We shouldn't show all of our thoughts. So it's like, your time here is done. So we shouldn't show all of our thoughts, what we believe, because I'm done for now. Can't you see I'm relieved? Being like, don't show me any more of this stuff because it's obviously you didn't believe in it. So let's cut it short. And like, can't you see I'm relieved is just kind of like a slap in the face. Like, hey, can't you see like I'm cool with this? Like, you fucking asshole. Like, can't you see how well I'm taking this right now? And then it goes into, you moved on, you don't need me, he's good for you, it's not as easy to see. So that it just talks about the guy, like she moved on from us, she's dating this guy. Um, it's not easy to see, like, it's not easy to see that he's better for you than I am in your head. And then I write, my money's gone, hope he's got more, if not, oh well, I guess you'll show him the door. I don't know where the fuck I got that from because I did not really have any money, and I think that was just kind of like a burn. I don't remember why I wrote that. I was working, what the fuck was I doing? I was working at a gas station. Like, I sure as fuck didn't have any money. I was working at the Amoco on Route 23 in Newfoundland. So, which is, I think it's a BP now. So if you ever drive by there, and that's where the new Grasshopper is, which used to be the Village Square Inn. So that's where I was working. So I really didn't have that money. So I don't know. I think I was just trying to like pretend. Something about that line, it didn't really make any sense because I never had financially. I think it was just like basically kind of calling her like shallow, just like was like a dig, really what I was trying to get there. And it goes back in the chorus again. And then there's like a bridge, and then it goes, and I know it's done, and I know you're gone, and I know it doesn't matter now to me, you see, and I'm happy that you're fine with it all. So it's like, I know it's done, I know you're gone. It's like, shit, okay, well, I get it. Like, you're gone, and I know it doesn't matter now to me, you see, and I'm happy that you're fine at all. So it's like, okay, like, I'm cool, even though I wasn't. And I'm happy that you're fine with it all. It's just another burn. The whole song was just like a constant dig, being like, oh yeah, it's just kind of like sarcastically saying like, okay, you're okay with this, you fuck yourself. It's really what it was. And there's there's no place in the song where I even say fuck you and your boyfriend at all. And I think what I liked about that is this was the time when I was Chris was so artsy with writing his lyrics, and he'd make a song like this thing. And this is what I learned from him. And he got this from bands that he liked. And it's really, you kind of create this, everything about the song, you can't, what's the word? Like, you can't really mail it in. So even the title of the song should be as fucking good as the melody of the song and as the lyrics of the song. And the lyrics, you can't skip on them. Like, they really should be done very well, and they should be written well. And I'm not saying like this is like fucking, I don't know, I wouldn't say Shakespeare's great, but like this isn't like some Stephen King shit. This is the only authors I fucking know, Stephen King and Shakespeare. But like, I would give it my best and be like, okay, you got to check the boxes. The title's got to be badass. The lyrics have to be badass. The melody has to be badass. The chorus has to be fucking catchy as shit. The whole song has to make sense as a whole. And for my first song, really, that I did write another song prior to this, but it never came to fruition. It never really got completed. This is my first full song. And this is like a song that even now when we play a show, like this is like the second to last song that we play because was such a popular song for that band. And I wrote it in like maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And I loved, I mean, the whole thing about it was just awesome. So fuck you and your boyfriend, when I thought of that, it was just like, oh man, like that's the best way to make this thing complete the burn. And it's funny because it kind of leaves you wondering, like, who are you talking about? So fuck you and your boyfriend. It's so like out there. And the only way I could have done that even step a step up was if I like mentioned her name. Like if it was her guy, what was the guy she was dating? Oh man, he was like such a bro, and he was from Indiana. This guy would have kicked my ass too. He was like way bigger than me. But it only would have been more of a punch to the throat if I had mentioned their names. But like you also want to keep things metaphorical at the same time. So there's all these rules that I have created that I use when I'm writing a song, which I've talked about in other episodes, and I'll talk about more episodes. Um, but yeah, so it's like so there's nowhere in the song it says the name of the song, and then it goes from the bridge, it stops, and it kicks back in to the song, to the chorus. And then at the end, Chris started just singing, I know I'm not. I don't know if I wrote this or he wrote this, but the line is, I know I'm not what you want me to be. So Chris will sing, I know I'm not, and I come in with what you want me to be, and that just like says over and over and over again. And it's just so funny being a 17-year-old, or I'm sorry, an 18-year-old to going into 19 and just writing these songs that are so aggressive. Like nowadays, even as an adult, when I'm writing songs, like, I mean, I could say this, but it's like, as an adult, it makes more sense. But at 18, I guess it kind of made sense because it was a very strong emotional relationship. And it's funny because the two of us are like friends now, and like she's got like a kid, and she's married and has this great life, and it's so funny that at this age you think you'll never like this person again. You've ruined me, and this is now there. And the shitty thing is that for that person, the fact that like when someone likes you and they have the ability to write songs, and then they also have the other ability where other people are going to hear that song and they're gonna like it, and they're gonna like sing it back to you at shows. That's like a giant kick to the dick for the other person, because you're just like the whole time they're like, yep, that's about me. Okay, that's cool. So the funny thing is that after the song was written, me and her started talking more. She ended up breaking up with this guy, and she was still in her freshman year of college out in Purdue. So she came home that summer, and we rekindled, and we started dating again. We dated dated up until the beginning of her senior year. Then we broke up officially, and we were like done. And there was a couple times through the years where we were like, I thought we could have gotten back together through my 20s, but she was in this like serious relationship. So it was like one of those where I never really met. But yeah, so I remember she came back to Jersey for summer, and this is right when we were recording this album for this EP, and I think we did the demos, and I showed it to her. I was like, oh, I wrote a song about you. You might not like it. And I remember I don't know if she read the lyrics or we had recorded it, but she just like listened to it over and over and over and over again, and she like I think she did love it, just because it was something that was made up for her, not like she was a narcissist or anything, but it was like, oh, that's sweet, he wrote me a song. But then the premises of it was like, it's not really sweet, I'm actually it's a burn. But she liked the song, and then this became. And another funny thing about this is that so we put, what did we do? I lost my train of thought. We put this record out on vinyl 2 years ago, and we played a reunion show in Jersey, which I've talked about. And the songs are now on Spotify, so you can actually go hear the song on Spotify. And we have our other album on Spotify. Some kid who is a skateboarder ended up finding this song and then put it as a soundtrack to his skate video on Instagram. And this video got like 100,000 views. And then all of a sudden, we had this giant uptick on Spotify of downloads to this song. And then all these other skateboard kids started making videos using this song. And I was like, and they were like, this is so cool. Is this a new band? It's like, no, this is like 20 years old. But this whole new generation of young rapscallions like this song enough to put it in skate videos, which to me is the coolest thing ever. I've always wanted a song of mine to be in a skate video, And the fact that this happened without me even knowing it, and I just happened to stumble upon it, was like the coolest fucking thing ever. And especially to happen in like at the time in my 30s. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And so yeah, if you want to check it out, just go on Spotify, and I'll probably have a link to it in the show notes and on the page that I'm going to put this. But that is the song, and again, that is the intro to this podcast, and is the outro to this podcast, which is funny because when I'm done with this episode, it's going to go right into the end of that song, or a part of that song. So that's it. So go check out the song, and if you're a skateboarder, then you should make a video with it, and you should make a video, and you should use this song in the video. So. All right, let's see. Anything else I want to talk about? No, that's it. 25 minutes. Ooh, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of talking about a song. Oh, and also real quick, the structure of the song was completely different when I brought it to the table. It wasn't supposed to go that same structure. It was supposed to go the verse to the chorus to the bridge, and then Alan was like, "Let's hold off on that part till the end. Let's go back into." He's like, "Let's just go back into the verse." And then do the chorus, and then do the bridge, and it ended up being the structure of the song. So I definitely agree with the way that went, because it did not really work the other way. So, but that's it. Go check out the song, and go follow the Instagram, and go share this with whoever you think would be interested in listening. Goodbye.